2018 Audi Q2 SUV Review. The good points of Audi Q2 SUV. First, small premium SUV from Audi. Distinct appearance, frugal performance. Wide selection of engines, drivetrains. The bad points of Audi Q2 SUV. Prioritizes posing over practicality. Tighter boot, rear seats than rivals. Not much else. The new Audi Q2 could be the latest addition for the German luxury car maker's burgeoning crossover range, and its name notifies you all you need to know. Q signifies it's an SUV, of sorts, and this small number indicates its pecking order below the bigger Q3, Q5 and Q7 models. The undeniable fact that it's a much number ushers in the new era of more sporting crossovers, following your logic of BMW's X4 and X6. Yet despite something of an coupe-cool aesthetic, the Q2 is aimed squarely at rivals including the Mini Countryman, Mercedes-Benz GLA and BMW X1. At 4.19 meters long, the Q2 is 13 centimeters shorter than in-house rival, the A3 Sportback, that it shares its mechanical underpinnings, yet with 405 liters of luggage capacity it's got a 25-liter bigger boot when carrying 5 passengers. Pricing is quite close on the A3 Sportback, too. The lowest priced Q2 1.0 TFSI and SAE spec will definitely cost £20,230 when UK sales come from November 2016. Audi Q2 boasts decent range of engines. The entry-level Q2 may be the 1.0-liter 3-cylinder TSI turbo petrol with 115 horsepower. Other choices at launch might be a 1.6-liter TDI diesel, also with 115 horsepower, a 1.4-liter TFSI turbo petrol plus a 2.0-liter TDI diesel, both with 150 horsepower. Audi has deliberately matched the petrol and diesel power outputs, however the diesels could have more torque, greater economy, far better price tags. All the engines we've tested have suited the Q2's character well as the smallest 1.0 provides decent shove, albeit that has a strained 3-cylinder thrum. The likely UK bestseller would be the 1.4-liter TFSI petrol with 150 horsepower. It is a high-tech engine, in a position to deactivate a couple of its 4 cylinders during low-stress driving to conserve fuel. A task that's so smooth you'll only notice it in case you're watching the display about the instrument cluster. Yet furthermore, it provides punchy performance and lots of driving enjoyment. Impressive new auto gearbox. The S-tronic transmission is really a new 7-speed unit that's very snappy under manual control, although automatic gear changes don't always happen when you'd like the crooks to. Many buyers might be better served by sticking to the standard 6-speed manual gearbox and pocketing the modification. The stick shift carries a pleasant action as well as gear ratios are matched, taking into account easy progress. Most Q2s will probably be equipped with front-wheel drive and traction is great. We'd question the advantages of quattro 4-wheel drive available only for the higher power engines. Even on 18-inch alloys the Q2 is comfortable on just about the bumpiest roads, whether or not you stick with the common suspension or option the adaptive setup instead. If one does go for the second, selecting dynamic assists and keeping roll within the corners under greater control, which suits the sharp steering and usually eager responses with the Q2's chassis. The ride gets firmer consequently. Nevertheless, you can always switch returning to comfort once you've finished having a good time. Distinctive design. There are many distinctive elements around the outside that will help spot the Q2 around the road, notably the square, widely spaced taillights and colored pillar panel, that is changed in the dealer for the refreshed appearance. Despite this, the Q2 retains a really Audi presence, a layout that continues to a cabin that may be at once clearly similar towards the A3 and also slightly different. Items like the threshold handles are chunkier, the typical fit central display is fixed on top with the dash such as a protruding iPad, and you pick contrasting colors for some with the trim elements. This is an element of Audi's effort to enhance personalization choice, though the Q2 remains more conservative than anything from Mini. Equipment levels are reasonable over the Q2 range, however the best-selling sports spec is specially good value, splitting the gap between entry-level SE and range-topping S-line. Standard features about the Q2 Sport include 17-inch alloys, contrasting Manhattan gray exterior elements, satellite and navigation and cruise control. You get Audi Drive Select, that permits you to tailor the auto's responses between auto, efficient, comfort, dynamic and individual settings. All Q2s get autonomous braking for really safety and progressive steering to balance low speeds with higher speed driving pleasure. Previously it has sometimes felt odd being used, but seems well calibrated here. Verdict: the Q2 makes Audi's premium appeal available to a whole new stratum of SUV buyers, therefore almost instantly guarantees success inside the current market. It isn't as playful being a Mini, but a majority of will choose to Q2's maturity. It's still good they are driving and certainly better resolved compared to Mercedes GLA. 3 petrol engines, 3 diesels. Smallest engine is 1.03 cylinder. Fastest is 2.0 TFSI with 190 horsepower. In typical Audi fashion, there's various engine selection for the new Q2 crossover. Choose from 3 petrols plus a trio of diesels at launch in November 2016. 3 petrol engines. Proceedings begin with an eager, downsized 1.0-liter 3-cylinder engine, which boasts 115 horsepower and commendably frugal combined fuel economy of 51.4 miles per gallon. No CO2 figure has become published yet, as well as the Q2's efficiency ratings are provisional. This can be a sweet revving engine that has a thrummy, 3-cylinder character that can offer sufficient performance just for this small crossover, although no acceleration figures are issued yet. Next up could be the 1.4 TFSI, that has cylinder-on-demand technology that shuts down 2 of the 4 cylinders at light loads in order to save fuel. Hence Audi quoting 54.3 miles per gallon, while sprinting from 062 miles per hour in 8.5 seconds. This may be the likely UK bestseller, and for good reason. It's well-mannered and drives well, although we preferred the 6-speed manual towards the 7-speed S-tronic auto with this engine. A more muscular 2.0 TFSI is usually offered inside the Q2, delivering a hearty 190 horsepower and bulky performance, although no official acceleration or economy figures are confirmed. We have yet to find out this derivative. A trio of diesels. The smaller your vehicle, the not as likely buyers will be pick a diesel engine, but Audi still says the 1.6 TDI could be the second most widely used motor from the Q2. We can discover why. It truly is refined and elastic twang for overtaking again, no 062 miles per hour times yet, while topping 62.8 miles per gallon in mixed use, says Audi. If you wish quattro 4-wheel drive in your Audi Q2, you'll need to step up towards the larger 2.0-liter diesels. Pick from outputs of 150 horsepower or 190 horsepower, that has a commensurate intensifying performance and average fuel economy claims of approximately 51.4 miles per gallon. We'll publish the whole data when they are released by Audi. Feels just like an A3 on stilts. Adaptive dampers optional. A good balance of ride and handling. The Audi Q2 is based around the oily bits that underpin many VW Group small cars, for example the VW Golf and Audi A3. So it should not be a surprise it drives rather such as a compact, slightly taller family hatchback. It isn't in any way daunting to pilot around town, along with the car is not difficult to place for the road. We found no fault with any engine and trim combination, all handle well and will be hustled around city streets or maybe your favorite country lane that has a degree of poise and balance that belie the Q2's crossover status. It feels more being a warm hatchback when compared to a tall SUV on tiptoes. Adaptive dampers. The suspension of many Q2s uses standard dampers, however you can select adaptive dampers for an optional extra, whose stiffness might be tailored using the Audi Drive Select system to activate comfort or dynamic modes depending on your mood. This is often a nice option to obtain, although not compulsory, even as think the Q2 rides and steers quite nicely enough around the standard chassis. All Q2s feature progressive steering, which varies the number of input required and the wheel to turn the vehicle, depending on your speed. Unlike rival systems, I was impressed by this setup. The helm feels incredibly natural, thinking about the complexities from the variable rack attached to your very feelsome and high-quality leather-trimmed controls. Front-wheel drive and quattro drivetrains available. The greater part of Q2s will consist of front-wheel drive, so now by eating suit most owners down for the ground. Yes, you'll be able to cheer up the leading wheels in case you nip out of the damped junction, but traction typically is excellent despite the presence of the punchy turbocharged engines. However, both 2.0-liter diesels along with the 2.0 TFSI petrol engine may be ordered with quattro four-wheel drive, and when you live within a remote area and wish the security blanket of improved traction, we'd heartily recommend the other security it brings. Another knockout Audi cabin. High-quality materials abound. Techfest options, but subscription costs too. The cabin from the Q2 is most likely its strongest ace card. Audi really has nailed its interiors of late, and also the quality of materials used and also the underlying design are knockout successes. It feels such as a properly premium small crossover from when driving. The basic architecture from the dashboard is inherently logical, as well as the four swiveling round air vents lend a stylish touch. Audi can give a slew of personalization for the Q2 and, based on trim level, you may pep inside the cockpit with a selection of body-colored trim, silver accents as well as other highlights. This can be a colorful, crisp, modern destination to sit, and Audi claims you will find 5 million color and trim variations, so no two Q2s need look precisely the same. A very digital cabin. The Q2 really comes alive inside once you start plundering your options and spec lists. We've all seen Audi's virtual cockpit within the TT and A4 ranges, and here it pulls off a similar Techfest trick, replacing analog dials with digital ones. The widest screen 12.3 inches instrument pack comes alive, flicking between conventional speedo and rev counter one moment or full width mapping the subsequent. It's quite a cool option. We would also recommend the £500 optional head-up display. A small perspex screen arises from the instrument cowl from the driver's distinct sight, beaming up key information including speed and state of directions, which means you never need to take your eyes from the road. It works well. Maps, infotainment, connectivity. So many new cars nowadays have digital connectivity baked in the outset, and also the Q2 isn't different. Even entry-level C models come that has a 7 inches TFT screen as standard, and this would be the car's digital hub, controlling audio, telephone, navigation along with a multitude of settings. The Audi Connect package is available being an option, bundling in niceties like Google Earth, app streaming as well as the option to sync the automobile with your work calendar, thus it can remotely set the destination for the following meeting. Clever stuff, but be warned the net services come having a subscription fee. Yes, your following Audi is the same as Netflix and is also likely to pop up with your bank statement with increasing regularity. Comfy ride quality. Good standard seats. A generally peaceful cabin. The Audi Q2 is a simple car to push and the ride and handling impress, using a mature, plump quality towards the suspension which absorbs the worst road bumps to go out of the cabin remarkably serene. This is better achieved for the smaller wheels, however, 16-inch rims are standard for the entry-level say and remember that every size up will damage the ride quality a bit. Sport models have 17-inch wheels, while S-Line adds 18s, generating more patter over broken surfaces. The standard seats prove comfortable despite if a whole morning spent in them along with the range of adjustment from the front is enough for even very tall drivers. We detail some practical shortcomings found from the rear in the Q2 inside interior and boot space portion of this Audi Q2 review. Noise is well suppressed, while you should note the 1.0 TFSI is often a buzzier, louder engine than its four-cylinder compatriots. The 1.4 TFSI is particularly refined. We struggled to inform when its cylinder-on-demand system was operating in 2- or 4-cylinder mode. Familiar say, Sport and S-Line trims. Sport Spec will be the UK's best seller. Plenty of optional extras and personalization. Pick from 3 trim levels around the new Audi Q2, beginning from say, climbing from the UK's best-selling Sport Spec and topping out with a lot more dynamic S-Line. Standard Audi Q2 equipment. All versions of Audi's smallest crossover consist of 16-inch alloy wheels to look good, manual air conditioning to settle cool and also a smattering of gadgets to help keep you entertained. The Audi smartphone interface is standard so you are able to hook up your iPhone or Android mobile, as well as the MMI Radio Plus comes which has a 7-inch monochrome screen. All Q2s have contrasting lower bumper moldings plus a pillar blade in Manhattan Grey. Base same models feature interior cabin highlights in white or orange and standard seats with aspect cloth upholstery. Step nearly sport models to get the MMI navigation package with 3-month subscription to Audi Connect. Larger 17-inch alloy wheels, automatic lights and wiper, plus cruise control. The interior is PEP's program aluminum and red ILO styling trim. The top S-Line spec gets LED headlights, 18-inch wheels, snazzier styling details and part leather sports seats. There can also be a loaded edition #1 exclusive edition available inside the first year from the UK. Full of extra gear like 19-inch rims, unique paint and trim as well as a rear diffuser. Optional Audi Q2 equipment. How big is the budget? There is certainly a lot of scope to spec your Audi crossover around sky-high specification, in the event you're not careful. The virtual cockpit replaces analog dials that has a full digital instrument pack. None with the options have already been priced yet and we'd also recommend the head-up display, which projects the speedo and nav instructions to a perspex screen inside the driver's distinctive line of sight. Adaptive cruise control with stop and go uses cameras and radar sensors to keep a predetermined distance to your car right in front, which enables it to even drive within a traffic jam available for you. We tried the second function and discovered it frustratingly jerky in stop-start traffic. Audi Connect allows you to pay to join to on-the-move apps and services and will be included for 3 years at point of purchase, Bear in mind some on-the-need functionality, including Wi-Fi hotspots, will incur a subscription fee thereafter grace period. Audiophiles should think about the mega-sounding Bang & Olufsen sound system, with 705 watts, 14 speakers plus a subwoofer for a lot of musical oomph. Not been your own cap tested yet. Q2 is dripping, keeping the vehicle safe kit. Pedestrian detection is standard. The Audi Q2 is just too big new to get been crashed through the safety wizards of Euro NCAP, but each of the pointers are that this is a particularly safe small crossover to transport your precious family. It is built through the very latest in high-strength steels, and Audi claims the passenger cell is unusually stiff and resistant against crushing forces. In the event you're unlucky enough to be inside a collision, there's the whole suite of airbags to safeguard both rows of seats, in addition to seatbelt pretensioners to keep you available. What is a bit more tangible within the showroom would be the sheer quantity of safety kit being offered. The Q2 is bristling with technology built to prevent you through an accident inside the first place, even if you should realize that much of it really is optional. Safety kit includes niceties, for instance head-up displays so that you're not looking down on the instruments, standard across-the-range emergency braking, which slaps for the anchors if the car or child pulls for your path unexpectedly, extra-cost blind spot detection systems, along with the traffic jam assist accessory, which uses cameras and ultrasonic sensors to push in congestion autonomously at speeds of around 40 miles per hour, the thinking being that microchips will be more reliable than humankind in dull city driving. Not the roomiest SUV. Fine in the front, cramped at the spine. Deep boot has 405-liter capacity. The Audi Q2 is often a compact crossover and also at less than 4.2 meters in total. It's considerably shorter than an Audi A3 Sportback or Q3. So don't expect the laws of physics to own been stretched a lot of by Audi's engineers. It's roomy enough inside the front, but you find compromises within the rear. If you simply occasionally carry rear seat passengers, then it's prone to fit your needs. 2 adults can fit back there, however, there is less room for legs and heads than you'll see in larger SUVs. All nevertheless, most long-legged children needs to be fine, however. The Q2's boot measures 405 liters in capacity together with the rear seats up, placing it ahead from the Bijou Mini Countryman rival, but lagging behind the more expensive load bays you'll find within the bigger BMW X1 or Mercedes-Benz GLA. Flop the trunk seats forward and you'll boost load space to a more echoing 1050 liters.